turning kittens in the lions, turning chicks in the eagles. That's what I enjoyed the most about teaching. And seeing them, taking them in tournaments, seeing them having like a handful of guys and they're tearing everybody up in the tournaments. A small kid beat up a big kid in the tournaments. Those are some of the, and then even some of them keeping that same attitude outside of class.
Hello, this is James Cox with the Martial Arts Lifestyle Show. We are in episode number 80. Today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Professor Damon Landry. Damon. Man, Damon is an 8th degree black belt. He was a professional fighter, a student, an instructor, a coach, a lifelong martial artist. Damon was one of my early students, one of my first, generations of students. He was 21 years old, so that means I was 25, 26, and hasn't stopped training, teaching, contributing, doing something with the martial arts ever since then, has continued on this. And Damon was a great martial artist, man. Followed me, and we did a lot of things together and made the name across Texas and further. But from point fighting to kickboxing, I think you were in that group of the first MMA fighters, professional fighters ever out of Abilene. Mm-hmm. We had you, and there were about 3 or 4 more, right? Aaron, I think Mitchell, Dustin.
Aaron, Mitchell. I think it was the first 3 with me, Mitchell, and Aaron.
Yeah. Turned pro. We had the MMA fights out at the Coliseum years ago, and now we got lots of things happening, man. But going to give some good content today, talking to Damon. Again, man, Damon was quite a fighter. He still has it in him, even at this older age. You feel older?
I feel older.
It's a little different now. Damon was a knockout artist, man. I saw people go to sleep from his hands and legs, from point karate to kickboxing and even MMA. I remember we went to Chicago for those national Waco kickboxing fights, and it was a big deal about the new top contender headgears. Also,
Top Gear.
Especially made
Top
and all
10.
this top 10 enforcement stuff. And somebody made a comment like it was near impossible to get knocked out with that headgear. Damon comes out, one of his first fights at the tournament, throws a hard, stiff jab. The guy goes to sleep. We all look like, I guess it's not impossible. But anyway, that's not what it's all about. So, Damon, why don't you talk to us, introduce yourself a little, some of this journey that you've done. And, man, I'm 38 years into this martial arts. You're like 32, right? That's crazy, man. Over 3
32.
decades. So what's been happening?
I've always been interested in martial arts since I was a kid. Since I was 4, I saw my first Bruce Lee movie, and I was hooked. Then, I'd say middle schoolish, the bullying started happening. And that happened until like probably 10th grade. 10th grade, got bullied around. But then finally got into a school. I looked in the phone book. I picked a school with the weirdest name. I said, that's probably the one I'm going to get into. And I pronounced it Kajukembo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was Abilene, Kajukembo. No one even knew what that was then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember your first classes, man. You were one of those first there, last to leave. Every day, if it was open, you were there, man. We trained long, we trained hard, young and dumb at a lot of things, but definitely made the marks, man. That's good. Well, with all of that, what's the best things of the martial arts and the experiences that you've had? Your best experiences, I guess,
Just some of those fights, man, that it's like, wow. Like the fights that were like real close and they were banging on both sides and that adrenaline rush and the energy and the back and forth with the coaching, and those are like the best times. Even like with kickboxing, like when I fought Robert Carlton, man, that was man.
Yeah, he was a
beast.
beast.
He didn't look like he was much, but man, that was the hardest punching dude I ever fought.
I know too. I fought him too. Yeah.
That dude, yeah. But those are great times, man. I miss those times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, intense, right? So much intensity, so much pressure. And to handle that pressure, right? Does it help you handle pressure everywhere you go with all the other things that you do? And
yeah. Not as nervous or scared, especially like I was when I was in middle school and in high school. More confidence. I remember the first time, and I was like an orange belt, and here comes the bullies, and all I did was put my right foot back, and the guy looked at my stance, was like, why'd you put your foot back? And started asking me questions. I just stood there and I looked at it. I didn't say a word, and he said, I ain't got time, and walked off. And I said, whoa.
That's crazy. That's crazy that worked. When people that know you today and in the more recent times, they'd be like, what? You were bullied? That's crazy. Who would bully you and why? But I think everyone gets bullied, man. I went through some bullying myself, right? So, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, why? And how were you bullied?
Really don't know. I guess I was a bully magnet.
Yeah.
Well, I was a child abuse kid, and I think child abuse kids are bully magnets. Because I think I was bullied since like the third grade, but not bad like middle school. But third grade was probably like the most traumatic, because I was child abused, and I was a quiet kid, and quiet kids usually the ones that people, why's that dude so quiet? Let's go see what he's up to, and just got picked on and picked on and picked on. That's how I see it. When I see quiet kids, I look at them and I can tell, yeah, that kid's been bullied.
Yeah, right. So when we teach that confidence, so we're talking about martial arts teaches confidence. Confidence is the most important, muscle and all of that stuff, which is true. I think it's about making sure everybody can put their head up, their chest out, and be okay with communicating and socializing and not being that weak, vulnerable target, right?
Right.
It seems like they can just run over you, because a bully wants to attack people that is an easy target, just like attackers. They look for what? Victims. That's what we got to kind of change. Well, you've done a lot of teaching. I mean, you've promoted black belts of your own, ran schools of your own. What about teaching, and what's the best benefits that you've seen that we're able to give to the students that we are teaching?
What I've seen, and I teach someone that was real weak at first, or real timid at first, and then they turned out to be one of the ones you gotta say, hey, whoa, slow down a little bit, calm down a little bit, take it easy on that guy a little bit. Turning kittens in the lions, turning chicks in the eagles. That's what I enjoyed the most about teaching, and seeing them, taking them to tournaments, seeing them having like a handful of guys and they're tearing everybody up in the tournaments, and or having like a small kid beat up a big kid in the tournaments. Those are some of the good things I got out seeing it, and then even some of them keeping that same attitude outside of class and going after their sports. And one of my students, he won grand champion, and he went on to football and is doing good in football. Got into college.
Yeah.
Playing football.
So that's that transforming the lives. So we
Right.
say empowered lives, right? So there's so much truth in that. It's not just some advertising gimmick. We empower lives or build confidence, because you've seen it over and over. I've seen it over and over, man. Yeah, that is pretty cool when you take those kids that that kid, the least likely to succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You become one of the most feared men in competition or whatever it may be, and just that
Right.
confidence, and start dominating it. Now, hopefully they remember where they came from, so that they can pass that down to others,
Right.
Pay it forward like that. Martial arts has changed a lot in these 33, 34 years you've been doing it. The evolution, right? From
Right.
more traditional to the more modern, to so many different styles and systems and approach. Heck, we didn't even have internet, and now it is everything, everywhere like this. Man, the opportunities now to compete. We were talking about that, from youth MMA to kickboxing and MMA, to compete all over the world at high levels, and and getting paid for it.
Right.
Things like that. So there's been lots of evolution. What do you see about the evolution of the martial arts, where it was, where it is?
Well, I know when we were coming up, we used to have to search for it. We'd have to go outside of Texas if we wanted to find something, and now it's everywhere. Anybody, in all ages. I mean, even like the traditional, have a stance in your hard style. Even that's evolved, and now it's more rhythmic, I guess. People doing things that you see on animation.
Crazy stuff, right?
Crazy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it is cool to see. I mean, kids, adults, all ages and belts, winning world titles in so many different divisions. There may be some pros and cons in that. I mean, there won't be so many world champions, right? But, it's what's out there, so much opportunity. Heck, we had to wait to get a flyer in the mail to know that there was a tournament going on somewhere, right? Or somebody call us on the phone and tell us. Now there's everything everywhere, man.
What I have noticed is like the durability of students. Like when we were coming up, like our training was like old school kung fu, where you're holding the paint cans and somebody's on your back and you're getting punched and kicked and you're going up the stairs and there's somebody on the stair waiting to punch you. But now it's not like that. It's like a little softer.
Yeah.
People get hurt a little easier. Like when we got hurt, we toughed it out and got back in there and put some duct tape on it and went forward. And it's like, it just seems a little softer. Even in other sports, like boxing, like the boxers aren't as durable.
Yeah. In every sport, basketball, every sport, right?
Football, basketball, they're not as durable as like back in the days. It's like one hit and they're out of there.
I wonder why. I wonder if it's because they know how to bend the rules. They know how to get the penalties and fouls and, appeal to the judges. But yeah, the training isn't as hard. It's always like that. Even before my time, we're Kajukembo, so we have to hear the stories of what those dudes went through. Full contact, no pads. I mean, the real stuff, right? And it's always like the old days, everyone trained harder. But I know for real that how the things we went through, and even the ways I was taught and some of the ways we were taught, you couldn't do that today. People get hurt or you get sued, But yeah, we could say some stories.
Even like where we train, I mean, we didn't train on no mats. We had linoleum floors and
no mats.
And tile floors with a fold out or no mat.
And we didn't know the difference, so it didn't matter. Maybe that's it too, Now that we know that there's mats and there's big gloves, there's all this padding, and there's, light contact, right? Well, what is light contact sparring, right? Semi-contact, no contact sparring, as a lot of people do. So it's definitely different and changed there. Maybe they're not as tough on the outside, but they're doing some amazing things. Technology's had to have helped in a lot of ways too, and knowing to be an athlete, to also have better fitness, nutrition, health. They got a lot of things that we didn't have, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of training equipment is better. The even evolved techniques that we could have used back then, like things that that were put in the box for us to use, or now the box is bigger.
Right.
It's like more tools, like more ways to bend the traditional rule. That's probably what I mean to say. It's more ways to bend traditional rules.
Because we weren't supposed to make changes.
Right.
This is the way it's done. This is the way you do it. If you do it different, it's wrong. I mean, luckily, my instructors were more, because Kajukembo was a more open-minded mixed martial art that was created. They didn't want us to change the basics, but they did give you some room to evolve, because Adriano Prado understood that, things didn't need to stay the same. Things got faster and stronger and different, but a lot of things were very strict and traditional for sure. All right, well, let's talk about like some other, man. I'll just like some rapid fire questions here and see what you got. But what's your favorite? It's hard for us not to be biased, but what's your favorite martial arts style and why?
I would have to say Kempo, just because hands are always realistic. I mean, blocking and punching. Blocking and punching fast.
Yeah, less risk than being on one foot,
right?
Jumping and spinning and kicking, close range, rapid fire. Yeah, hitting those areas, and man, just like a drummer, just all over them, right? Some of those Kempo dudes are like some of those, Kali stick guys, and they throw those hands like lightning, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. All right. What's the best age to start martial arts? We got kids 3 years old. I got 73-year-olds, all ages.
I always say a mature 4. Mature 4. If they can hold their attention for 30 minutes, and at least pick up one technique at a time, then that's old enough to start.
Yeah. It's a young age, but I have some 4-year-olds that are still with me today. Some of them are grown. I think now, whatever age you are, just start, right? Because now you're going to keep putting it off. You know how many people wish they would have started martial arts earlier, right? Or at all, and just never did, or they quit and then they regret it. So you know what? We get the questions a lot about the best martial arts technique, because everybody wants a faster way, right? The microwave world, they want something now that's going to work. They're going to use what's that death touch, that number one technique that you can learn. So what do you think is the most important technique or skill? If someone had to learn one thing in the martial arts, what would it be?
I would say a straight cross right down the pipe.
Good
Right
straight
down
right
the pipe.
hand.
Because usually the punches are going to be coming wide. Put your hand up like you're talking on the phone and go straight in.
Yeah.
Chin down, eyes up, straight in.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one, man. Throw those
Boom.
hips. The straighter is better. Yeah, quickest way from a straight line, A to B. Yeah, if it's a palm heel, a punch, or finger strike, or whatever, right?
Straight down the line.
Good. What's your favorite all-time fighters? That's a tough one, man, 'cause we got boxing, kickboxing, sport karate.
Okay, boxing, it would have to be Roy Jones. Jr.
Okay.
Roy
I thought you were
Jones.
saying Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he was, but as far as straight up skills, Roy Jones was evasive. He was a awesome counter puncher, and he had that shotgun cross, straight cross, and his double up hooks.
Head movement.
His head movement,
Yeah.
his footwork, and he could switch sides and pop, and you were out of there.
Yeah, Roy Jones was
Jones, he was
incredible at his
magical.
peak. Yeah, so I got to go with Tyson. But yeah, they all got their reasons. It's hard to pick one. We should call you Junior Mike Tyson. What about, I guess, MMA or other parts of martial
MMA, I would
arts?
have to say St. Pierre, just because he
Yeah.
was a good all around. He could kickbox. He had a handful of submission. He didn't have a whole lot of fancy submission. He probably did, but he only used like just basic ones. His stand up was good. Kickboxing was good. His judo was good. His wrestling was really good. And
I think GSP is an all-time.
he's probably just all around good. His attitude was good. His respect was good.
That's it. Like I say, he's also, as far as we know, we hear, he's a good person, right? So, man, you can have a great fighter. You find out he's a bad person. You're like, oh, man, why you have to be like that? You just kind of lose the respect, right? Because martial arts got to be something about, even as a fighter, your character, your ethics, right? It's like a superhero, man. You're trained with some pretty deadly skills. So be a good person, right?
It's like one wrong move can ruin it.
Oh, yeah.
Just one wrong move.
Especially those guys, man, in the media and in the light,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can't believe everything you hear on either way, too, which is a shame. What about your favorite martial arts movie? I know you're a movie buff. You used to watch all those old martial arts kung fu flicks.
I still. You see my collection now.
Yeah?
But,
The old kung fu movies?
I got a bunch of them. I got some new style, like some old style.
We
But
watched a lot of movies together
Yeah.
with VHS tapes.
VHS.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I guess my favorite one would be the Karate Kid, just because it was similar to what I went through.
Number one, Karate Kid?
That'd probably be like number one, like as far as like emotional tie movie or something that relates to my life. It would be that would be Karate Kid would be like my favorite one that related to my life. But there's the rest. I got a bunch of favorite ones, but that one, that was probably a good one because it was kind of realistic.
No, it is. Same here, bro. Same here. Karate Kid is almost it's a movie for so many people that live that life that got the same benefits, and it taught the world that there's more to martial arts than fighting. The Karate Kid 1 taught the world that martial arts is about character development and life skills and being a good person. But when you need to defend yourself, you need to be able to, and you have the right to, so you're not bullied.
Right.
Yeah, for real. Best of the Best one was a great one, right?
Yeah,
that was just
another
action
good one.
packed.
Yeah,
that was good before a fight.
Yeah.
Rocky movies.
I used to watch Best of the Best before going to tournaments. I just watch that. I go straight to the tournament scene and just watch the last two fights.
I remember. I think we were in some of the same hotels before fights, and we sit back and watch Best of the Best or Rocky, just some motivational things like that. That's cool. What about a book, martial arts related?
I didn't really read too many books, but only book I did really look through was the Tao Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah, all the Bruce Lee things, right?
Yeah. I flipped through that a couple times, and I flipped through that book of the Tao. It was like some Tao.
Yeah.
Ancient Tao had all these we call them proverbs or
philosophies.
Yeah, like the 5 colors, deafens the eye, all that stuff.
Right. Yeah,
I used to read
the
those.
5 Rings was a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of ones like that. But yeah, of course, Bruce Lee philosophies. And there's another whole thing with the martial arts. I mean, introduced philosophy. Deep too, right?
Right.
You can hear and see in so many ways, man. Well, what do you have to say overall, man, to the audience? We got martial artists, non-martial artists. You're helping me coach these fighters now that we have coming up, and we're busy. So, what kind of advice or things do you have to say, and what's your goals in the future?
The best advice I can give students and people that are training is practice. Not just in class, practice outside of class. Don't wait till you get to class to practice. Class is pretty much to show what you've practiced. That's pretty much how I've always believed it. Like when I was coming up, GM would give me, say Noble Drill 1. I would go home and I'd have that thing memorized by the time I came back to class the next day, and it was like I had it for like a couple months. And I didn't wait to get to class to practice it unless I didn't know it. Unless I didn't know all the moves, I would wait. But other than that, if I knew it, I was practicing. That way, when I came to class, it was better than before. And I would have to say that if you wait to class to get to practice, you're cheating yourself of extra time, because you can practice at home. I mean, there's times you're sitting at home not doing nothing. And I mean, I'd sit at home even now. I sit at home and I'll block punch just out of nowhere. I'll walk to the kitchen and pop, low back fist, double back fist.
And if it's not you doing it with your body, it's in your mind. The mind and the body together. I don't know what happened with, I go again about then to now, but us doing those same techniques over and over. And my instructors were also your instructors. We were, although you were my student, we were close to the same age, and we were coming up. So training with Patrick McDaniel, Richard Peralta, even my boxing coach, Jesse Cantu. Those three guys had a lot of similarities. Traditional style of training and repetition. And strict and hardcore. I can't tell you, the lessons I had with boxing where we did a jab.
I would say that'd probably be like one of the weak things I see is people don't do it repetition. They get tired of doing it.
Yeah, I hear it. People quit because they're doing the same thing over and over, and they are not. I'm like, if you only knew, right? But then you get caught in a submission. This doesn't work. Well, you didn't drill that technique enough. Drillers are killers, right? So you gotta have that repetition. How do you do it without getting bored?
I try to tell them, man, you wanna throw it to where it's a normal reaction, like walking. You don't have to think to walk because you've walked for so long. It's a normal reaction. You can walk and do other things now. You can walk and chew gum. You can walk and on your phone and not even look where you're going and still go straight. those are things you got to do. I mean, you got to go repetition. You got to repeat it. That way, it's like if somebody on the street reaches for your natural reaction is to put your hand up. I mean, if you wait to get touched, then it's too late. I mean, you want it to be an instant reaction, an instant movement, an instant thought, like where it's not even a thought, just like an instant motion, where your body just reacts on its own. And that's the only way you're going to be able to do it is over repeating the same moves over and over again.
Yep. Yeah, we just got to know that, man. Encourage people to understand that. That's how you get good at everything else in your life too. But all right, Mr. Damon, it's been a good talk. If you got anything else to close with, or where anybody might find you, I mean, I know you're available for private lesson, personal training, this or that.
Yeah, I usually be here Mondays and Wednesdays.
Find us, Premier Martial Arts in Abilene. We'll be here. All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it. Be sure you follow all of our other podcasts. We're at number 80, so you got 79 more to check out if you haven't already. And follow the YouTube channel, James Cox Martial Arts.